Wellstreams program of spiritual deepening and training in the art of spiritual direction, which is a mouthful. So we just call it Wellstreams. And we're here today to honor our folks who have completed 3 years. And what a 3 years it's been. So I'm excited to be here with you all. Looking forward to acknowledging this incredible achievement you've won. So, without further ado, I'm going to invite Reverend Kristen Santiago to come forward and offer the invocation for our day.
Good afternoon, and welcome again. And let us just turn our hearts to the Holy One. I'd like to share a blessing. Holy One who has journeyed with this cohort of Wellstreams all along the way. You who are divine and always on the move, and yet pausing to invite us into your loving gaze. Bless all who are gathered here in divine love and divine guidance. May our hearts be open to rejoice this day, to remember those who have gone before us in so much love, and to celebrate with these Wellstreams graduates, and to remind each other that we belong to each other in your continued guidance. And so we ask your blessings too upon the entire spirituality network, this beloved community of your making. As we go forward, may we remember that we walk together with you. In your name we ask this blessing. May it be so. Amen.
I've invited Loretta Farmer to join me this afternoon because we would like to offer gratitude and remembrance for our friend Sharon Reed, who sadly passed away from this life last October. So, in remembering Sharon, we would just like to lift up the many gifts that she shared and we will light a candle. Do you want to do that, Lorena? We light this candle as a symbol that shows us that the light that Sharon Reed shone into and through each of us is always with us. The light of her wisdom and her faith, her love shining through every life that she touched. She was first my teacher, and then a colleague, and very quickly became a dear friend. And she and I worked together for many years, 25, it's many years. And I feel the emptiness of the space that she filled, and I also feel that love that she shared. And so I celebrate that today. Lorena?
I met Sharon back in the 70s. She was the director of youth ministry for the diocese, and I worked in youth ministry. And we became friends pretty fast. We went to Shalem together in 1990, and that was 3 years. And then we did some retreats together. And Sharon was the kind of friend where most often they're kind and selfless and understanding and a good listener. But the one thing that Sharon gave me that I carry in my heart is the awareness of lifting others up. When we would do retreats together, I was the novice and Sharon was very experienced, and often I felt inadequate and insecure. And she would listen, and then she would always find a way to remember my gifts and reflect them back to me. So that's the one gift that I carry, just one of them, I have many, that I carry with me, and I invite each of us to remember, in Sharon's honor, to lift one another up whenever we can.
Oh, what a beautiful invitation and reminder. Thank you, Loretta.
Thank you.
So Loretta reached out to Sharon's dear friend, Amy, a couple of weeks ago, and said we'd really like to honor her and we'd like to share something that would be meaningful to her. And so Amy said she prayed and asked Sharon to show her what it is. And she went to the shelf where one of Sharon's favorite books, and also happens to be one of mine, many of you know it, To Bless the Space Between Us by John O'Donohue. She pulled it out and there was a little Post-it note stuck to this one. And so Loretta and I have decided we will share this because Sharon has invited us to remember her through these words. It's called A Morning Offering by John O'Donohue.
I bless the night that nourished my heart, to set the ghosts of longing free into the flow and figure of dream that went to harvest from the dark, bread for the hunger no one sees.
All that is eternal in me welcomes the wonder of this day. The field of brightness it creates, offering time for each thing to arise and illuminate.
I place on the altar of dawn the quiet loyalty of breath, the tent of thought where I shelter, waves of desire I am sure to, and all beauty drawn to the eye.
May my mind come alive today, to the invisible geography that invites me to new frontiers, to break the dead shell of yesterdays, and to risk being disturbed and changed.
May I have the courage today to live the life that I would love, to postpone my dream no longer, but do at last what I came here for, and waste my heart on fear no more.
Let us just pause for a moment and invite Sharon's spirit to dance among us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Loretta.
Thank you.
It's been a challenging set of events, and Sharon's steadiness was often something that I called to mind when I was in turmoil this year. So, Sharon, we love you. So now I would like to invite Reverend Mark Deemer to deliver our keynote. And Mark has been a friend of the network, I don't know, maybe forever. He recently retired from full-time pastorate at Grace of God Lutheran Church, and he's still offering pastoring to another church? The church on Oakland Park. So, you know, retired pastors never really retire. They just keep going, right? So, Mark, I would love to invite you to come up and share your thoughts with our graduating group.
Thank you, Amanda. Grace to you. Oh, wait, that's. No. Grace to you. Good afternoon to all of you. Friends of the Spirituality Network, family and friends of those who are graduating today as part of the cohort, celebrating the completion of their time these past 3 years. When my good friend Alejandro invited me to speak back in February, the theme was connections and belongings. I thought, what a great theme, especially in light of where we are in the world today, where people seem to be spending more time and effort disconnecting and separating. And I thought, I have a lot to say about this. And then I received an email that the cohort decided to change the theme. Thus, the theme for today is Sacred Journey and Divine Reflections. It didn't come to me as easily as what I thought I would talk about with the other theme. But actually, there's not a whole lot of difference, is there? I found myself more and more intrigued. I thought, how appropriate at this time to focus on how we can be divine reflections to others. How our lives are a sacred journey that encounters those that we agree with and disagree with, those that challenge us, those we love to be around. And how do we work to tear down those walls that separate and divide? How does this theme, Sacred Journey, Divine Reflections, connect with our world of brokenness? what challenges lie before all of us, but especially those of you who are graduating today. As you begin this holy endeavor, sacred endeavor of continuing your journey of spiritual direction and sharing that gift with others, how much this world could benefit from spiritual direction. As I looked, this is where I'm changing even what I wrote for today, because I was so amazed at the projects. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get around to all of them and take some notes, but I jotted things down that came to me as I reflected on what I saw, what I read, what I was feeling, what I was thinking. I thought that is what reflection is all about. And I could see in the projects, even the ones I didn't get to spend time with, how you, through reflection and this journey, this sacred journey, were touched by the divine, by the holy. And in being touched by that, how it brought forth such creativity, imagination, symbols, not only of your life, but of life. And as I looked at them, I began to think about what symbol do I see in my own life, in the pictures, in the sewing. And I was intrigued with the glass blowing. I've always enjoyed watching that. My wife and I last summer spent some time in Lenox, New York, and went to the museum there and watched glass blowers and saw the history of glass. And that was inspired by generations, a great grandfather. And then I looked at another piece of art that was inspired by a gift from grandchildren. And how our lives are so intertwined and connected. That's the sacred journey. All of those that we meet along the path, along the way, in our encounters. I was going to spend time today just kind of defining each of those terms. But as I looked at your art, I realized you already have the definitions. And I also have to believe that those of you who are here today to support these graduates are also very much aware of what those terms mean. So I don't think I have to do that today. But rather, I would like to invite you to help me hear your definitions of what those mean. What does it mean to you, that word sacred? When you hear that word, what does it touch in you? Holy? Mystery. Yeah. Divine. Precious. Yes. Wonderment. Everything? Mm-hmm. Yeah. But what's a sacred journey? How does journey fit into that? Pardon? The process, yes. Yes. pilgrimage. I saw that in the art, how many people got in touch. I loved the table, the welcome table, the hope. And yet right sitting there across from the plate was kind of the struggle that brought that person to that hope. And isn't that what those struggles are about? You know, in the moment, we often dread them. But when we have a chance, and especially through this process, this journey that you've been on as you've been on this 3-year journey, which has been more than 3 years, right? And really hasn't come to an end, because we know it doesn't end. It leads to new pathways, new journeys. And as we do that, how we see that those things that have been our challenges and our struggles have been so integral to our growth, to what we have learned. And how does that translate into a world where we are struggling, folks? You know, I love the end of that poem. Could you read that last line for me about the fear?
But do at last what I came here for, and waste my heart on fear no more.
Yeah. Waste my heart on fear no more. I am convinced that every hatred that exists, every injustice that is committed, is done because of fear. What would it be like if we had a world that said, let's not waste our time, let's not waste our life, let's not waste our world on fear? And yet, in the midst of this fear and the challenges we face now as a world and as a community, what great opportunity we have to let that, just like in my individual life, those challenges become the opportunity for growth. That maybe that's where we're at too. Maybe the struggles that we have today, the fears of today, the injustices of today becomes the soil that gets packed down so that we might emerge something new. That's a sacred journey, isn't it? That's what you all have been on. What a gift. And now what a gift you get to become. Because that sacred journey now becomes the divine reflections, the ways in which you begin to see the reflection of the divine in others. And of course, you know the 3 chairs of spiritual direction: the directee, the director, and the divine presence. It's in that divine presence that we find our connection. It's in that divine presence that we begin to see the divine in the other. It's in that divine presence that our lives and our time and that moment becomes a reflection of the divine as well. And we have to take that time and be with another in order to see that. My friends who are graduating, thank you. Thank you for this sacred journey you've been on. Thank you to all of you who are here today to support them and the many others. Thank you to those who were a part of the Wellstreams program and Spirituality Network that made this possible. Thank you to the lives of those who are no longer with us. Sharon. I also saw Father Vinny's picture there, and I know how much a part of things he was, not just with this network, but with justice issues throughout wide, not just here in Columbus, but beyond. Thank you. Now may you see this not as an ending, but that new path that you're taking, where you get to be divine reflections to others and see the divine in them and invite them into a deeper, meaningful life. Thank you for inviting me, Alejandro, to be a part of this day, to celebrate with all of you the divine gift we've been given, to be on a sacred journey. Sometimes it's easier to recognize that than others, isn't it? Sometimes life becomes pretty mundane, pretty routine. But one of the challenges I've been looking at for myself is how can I keep my life from being so mundane and routine? One of my journaling things right now is taking time to journal each day what I heard that day, what I saw that day, what I felt that day. Yes, and even a little bit what I tasted this day. May you spend that time reflecting on your lives as you go about your sacred journey and join others. And may we all be a part of bringing a deeper sense of peace and love and not fearing into this world. Thank you.
Wow, thank you. So well said. And it echoes some of the thoughts that I have gathered. So we were in the same wavelength here, right? Some of the thoughts that I gathered that I'd like to lift up for these lovely souls that we are honoring today. I do want to also mention, I forgot to do so at the beginning, I welcome those friends who are watching from afar online. We're so glad that you were part of this journey with these beautiful people. So thank you. Glad you're here. So they have answered the call, the invitation to be compassionate, empathetic, loving presence in a world that is crying for that, crying for hope. And Reverend Deemer so beautifully said it, the division and the fear that permeates our world. It's just about enough to do us all in. And each one of you have said yes to something that stirred within your hearts that led you here to explore. Is this a presence of hope, of compassion, of non-judgment that I can bring to this world? And here you are. You've done your work. And as Reverend Deemer said, you are not finished. None of us are. We are all in process, all of us growing, continuing to blossom and become. So we've traveled through these 3 years of life together, which included all that life includes. There were joyous events, new babies entering families. There were not so joyous events of illness and loss, notably our own Sharon, but those, each of us have people in our lives and in our families that we said goodbye to as well. You have celebrated and mourned together. You've been transformed. And you have not been transformed into something new or different, but of something more real, more authentically who you were each created to be. And you'll carry those unique gifts into the work you do in the world. And the world needs it. And so all of the life shifts we've been about together, struggles and celebrations and conflicts and resolution, all of that has simply opened our hearts to a deeper sense of the holy mystery that dwells in each of us. So in a moment, I'm going to be calling you each by name to come up. But before I do that, I want to welcome our supervisors who have traveled side by side with these folks through their internship. What they bring and what they share. Words cannot capture the depth of my gratitude for what I witness in the sharing that you offer. And so, all I will say, though it doesn't feel adequate, is thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I'd like to invite our supervisors to come up and come stand behind me. And as your intern is called, I will give you their certificate and you can present that to them. So please come forward. So our supervisors are all well-experienced spiritual directors. They know what this is that the students have been exploring and learning and growing in. And then on top of that, the supervisors have been through training that lasts at least 18 months, sometimes more. And we have 2 brand new supervisors who are just completing their 18-month internship. And so I would like to honor them. So Andrea Pinnell.
What are you doing behind my back?
I'm waving to Deb. Debbie, can you come forward? And then I have Alejandro Rodriguez. And now I want to say, Andrea began her internship shadowing Sharon Reed. Yeah. And so another supervisor who could not be with us today, Annie Dalby, stepped in to kind of guide her for the final few months of that. But Debbie Brenneman, I would like you to award Alejandro Rodriguez. Yeah.
I think I'm one of those that needed more than 18 months.
We'll figure that out. So now here comes the fun part. We get to honor each individual. I am so proud to call you colleagues now as opposed to student. We are in this work together. So, let's see if I can do this. And it goes in alphabetical order, so you'll just come up when your name is called. Christine Adamkak. And she was led by Kathy Davis. Then we have Patricia Amy, who was guided by Alejandro and Debbie Brenneman. They're fighting over who gets to give it to her. Elizabeth Betty Anderson. I forgot. Bonnie's not here. I named the other one. So, Betty, on behalf of Bonnie, I will award you. Thank you. Your certificate. Whoops, I'm giving you too many. Sorry. And next we have Loline Bargerstock.
Bless your gifts. Such gifts. Thank you. Bless you.
Lots of love here. Jay Spells. You started the whole thing. Now you better figure it out. Belgenia Elaine Berry. Carol P. Brand. Next, we have Robin Klossman. And Robin's supervisor is Annie Dalby, who could not be here with us today. So Barbara Hubble's standing in. And we have Michael Doran. Next, we have Elizabeth L. Kuhn. Our Liz. Supervised by Douglas Argue. Next, we have Ellen Pearson, supervised by John Kuhn. And John, I hope you get to be watching. He was not able to join us today either. So again, Barbara's standing in. She's doing double duty. And certainly not least, but lastly, we have Elizabeth G. Vanoli, supervised by Deb Eichley. These are the people who will be stepping out to bring more hope to the world. And for that, just know you are so blessed. We are so thankful. I have been privileged to walk with you for this 3-year program. So, yay. Now comes an even more fun part, which is the students are going to, I don't know, they're going to do something. They're going to share with us their celebration of this moment. So, and Christine Heister and her accompanist Nick Traverso are going to sing a beautiful song, We Belong, and the graduates' presentation.
I'm so honored to be able to share this song with all of you. Congratulations from the bottom of my heart for all the work, all the growth, all the beautiful companioning on this journey that you've done for each other, for yourself, and now you get to bring out into the world. When I think of you, I see life in color. When you think of me, I hope that you wonder what this life can bring us if we remember that everything that we need is everything we've got. Follow the home that's in your heart, that's where we are. And isn't it so amazing, out of all the places we are face to facing, right where we belong. When the day is through, there's always tomorrow. I'll save a seat for you, and every day that follows 'Cause everything that we need is everything we've got. Follow the home that's in your heart, that's where we are. And isn't it so amazing, out of all the places we are face to face and right where we belong. If we remember, we're all just made of stardust in the end, my friend. 'Cause everything that we need is everything we've got. Follow the home that's in your heart, that's where we are. And isn't it so amazing, out of all the places we are face to face and right where we belong. If we remember, if we remember, we're right where we belong.
Technical difficulties. Commercial break.
It looks like we're going to sing, and we are not going to sing.
No,
Not after that, no.
no. Thank you, Christine, for that lovely song. We're going to stay up here, guys. We're just, we don't live all in the same area, so we have to practice while we're up here. So sorry. Okay. I realize I picked this slide. My name is Ellen, and I'm so proud to be a part of this group. But Lolly and I are the Indiana representation, so there was a lot of road in our travels the last couple of years. So it's very appropriate to have a road. 2.5-hour drive, and then 2.5 hours back. So worth it. Just know there really is no way to describe or represent the last 3 years of our Wellstream experience in this short minute that we have. So we thought as one way to provide a tiny snapshot of our time in this program. We thought each of us would share just a little snippet of what we studied or learned or gained from our time together as a class. I'm sure you're aware there's way more to include, just no space to share it all, even though we would love to. So thank you for receiving this small offering of words to help give you a glimpse of the goodness that we've been offered. The one caveat I will offer is that a few of us may share poetry with you, as we have learned that poetry is a gentle way to open the door to our souls. And for this reason, it felt important to include it, as it has been woven into the fabric of our time together. So we invite you to open yourself to some poetry today. One last note, you will notice that each of us will come with a flower as we come to share. This flower represents the uniqueness, the gifting, the creativity, and the life that we individually have brought to this class. Each flower is beautiful in and of itself, but together it creates a lovely, colorful, vibrant bouquet. We have found great comfort, greater wisdom, and greater beauty in traveling this road together.
Didn't know I was going next. Okay. So, a topic that I enjoyed studying during our program was the Enneagram, which is up there. And in Greek, Ennea means 9 and gramma is point. Although the origins of the Enneagram have been disputed, it has roots in ancient spiritual traditions, including Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. It became more popular in the 1960s, and it's gained popularity as a tool in spiritual direction. Briefly, the Enneagram is a 9-pointed figure in a circular setting that is used to display 9 personality styles, 1 to 9. Although we have all the personality styles within us, people are born with a dominant style or type that is molded by environment and experiences in one's life. There are also 3 centers that are referred to: the gut or instinctual center, the heart or emotional center, and the head or intellectual center. While each of us has within us and needs all 3 centers, we typically rely on and prefer one center over the others to help us survive and thrive in our lives. For example, the 8, 9, and 1s prefer the gut, the 2, 3s, and 4s prefer the heart, and the 5, 6, and 7s prefer the head. Guess where I'm at? According to Enneagram theory, our personalities began as coping strategies. We developed this as children to feel safe and secure in the face of adversity and stress. One way to think about it is our personalities are like armor that we grew to protect ourselves from threats we perceived in our childhood environment. We still wear that armor today, which can dictate how we react to stress and conflict and how we interact with each other. While this helped us get through our childhood, it can be the source of more pain and conflict as we continue to suppress our true selves as adults. What makes the Enneagram different from other personality tests is that it doesn't focus on the behavior, such as if someone's an introvert, an extrovert, intellectual, or creative. It focuses on what drives our behavior. It has been helpful for many of those in therapy and spiritual direction. And as I move forward on my journey, I will continue to use the Enneagram in my personal development and in understanding relationships. And thank you, Barb, for teaching us.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know I was so fast coming up. Well, I am an introvert, and I was trying to think when I first started the Wellstreams program how I was going to connect with my peers. And so I came up with a way to do that. I started sending an email with poetry, and it sort of caught on, and pretty soon it became a Substack of Poetry Friday. So every Friday I would send out, I don't know, some thoughts that I had during the week and some poetry that went along with that. So I felt like it would be good for me to do some poetry today, some from one of my favorite poets, Rosemary Watola Tromer. And I'm also a quilter, and so I made this quilt which goes along with this poem. And the poem is called When We Gather to Wonder About the Sacred. And to me, this explains how I feel in words that I can't express myself about spiritual direction. When we wonder about the sacred, we begin as separate scraps of cloth, squares left on the seamstress's floor. Perhaps we believe we have nothing to offer because we are not more whole. Wonder becomes the needle. The sacred is green thread. Communion fills the seams. And who or what is the seamstress? Of course, we were confused about our worth, but my God, it is beautiful when we can't help but see how essential we are. He's trying to find my slides that go with this, but that's okay. Just hang in with it. It is beautiful when we can't help but see how essential we are. The material of us gathered into the grand cloth. It is painful to be pierced in the joining. No one wants to know this. And yet, each time we wander together and wonder and wonder, we learn again just how we fit, how integral we are, and how surely the cloth needs us all. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is truly a blessing and honor to be here today. I am so grateful for the opportunity that I have had and for everyone that has journeyed along with me these last 3 years. During that time, we have been introduced or reintroduced to an array of authors, mystics, scholars, you name it, everyday people, sharing their version, their understanding, their experiences of spiritual direction, spirituality. For me, the one that resonates the most is Saint Therese of Avila. She masterfully she extended an invitation to each of us and masterfully describes how we can create and nurture our own interior castles. It is during these times when we are going inward and experiencing the humility, the suffering, of whatever it is that we're experiencing, or even the voids. You'll notice on this slide, the first slide is of knots. I think that is symbolic to me and of the various knots of life experiences that we often find ourselves in, or the spiritual deserts that we have. And then comes the real hard work, but oh so rewarding. It's when we're willing to take a look or even a double take and own our truth in the mirror. So to each of you, I extend an invitation to embrace your knots. Have the courage to look in the mirror. Ask yourself, what do you see? What do you feel? What are you thinking? And the invitation, extend that as often as you wish to visit your personal interior castles. In closing, I would like to thank everyone that again has journeyed with me, and I dedicate this moment, this experience, and this certification to my dearest sister, Kimberly Jodelle Berry Savani. Amen.
Well, Wellstreams was everything that I could have expected in terms of gaining new knowledge and skills and wonderful people to share all of this with. What I completely undercalled was the 3-year focus on this deep interior journey, searching for my true self, becoming aware of how my mind and body and spirit work together, embracing and then letting go of experiences and feelings that might get in the way of truly and deeply listening to another. Every one of us has experienced that interior journey, but they are as unique as each one of us. We began, arrived here, and continue now forward from different places and in different ways. But by way of example of an interior journey, and in the spirit of capturing a little bit of what happened for me, I want to share with you a poem that captures the spirit of the movement that I experienced. This is called The Most Important Thing by Julia Fehrenbacher. I am making a home inside myself, a shelter of kindness where everything is forgiven, everything is allowed, a quiet patch of sunlight to stretch out without hurry, where all that has been banished and buried is welcomed, spoken, listened to, released. A fiercely friendly place I can claim as my very own. I am throwing arms open to the whole of myself, especially the fearful, fault-finding, falling apart, unfinished parts, knowing that every seed and weed, every drop of rain has made the soil richer. I will light a candle, pour a cup of hot tea, gather around the warmth of my own blazing fire. I will howl if I want to, knowing this flame can burn through every perceived problem, any prescribed perfectionism, any lying limitation, every heavy thing. I am making a home inside myself where grace blooms in grand and glorious abundance, a shelter of kindness that grows all the truest things. I whisper, hallelujah, to the friendly sky. Watch now as I blossom.
Well, if you are a reader, then this program might be for you. And if you're not, there's always audiobooks. So we have traveled over the last 3 years back in time almost 1,000 years and then back home again to study with Rumi, Julian of Norwich, Black Elk of the Lakota tribe, and Eddie Hillesum. We visited Thich Nhat Hanh, Howard Thurman, John O'Donohue, Richard Rohr, Mirabai Starr, Parker Palmer, and so many others. Their words will never be far from our hearts, though none were more meaningful than the words spoken by Brené Brown. In fact, I believe she was the only author from whom we read 2 complete works, The Gift of Imperfection and Atlas of the Heart. Her message was simple. If we want to get to what Brené Brown calls wholehearted living, or living authentically by accepting and loving others for who we are and who we were created to be, then we had to look at our own imperfections and make the choice to see them as strengths. Our brokenness had to be transformed into courage, compassion, and connection. The Japanese art of kintsugi gave us the perfect metaphor for what Brené Brown is talking about. When a favorite or cherished piece of pottery is broken, the Japanese reassemble the piece using gold to mend the pieces back together. They don't try to hide that it has been broken. In fact, the mending process honors the breaking and makes it functional again. The broken piece is not seen as a broken cup repaired, but a cherished cup made even more beautiful by its brokenness. Kintsugi became the embodiment of Brené's words. If we look again and choose to see the whole story, our broken hearts and lives are quite beautiful and full of strength and courage and compassion, and a place where we could connect deeply with others. Wholehearted living is an act of resistance and defiance. Using our strength and courage, we choose to see ourselves as we know us to be, not as the world defines us. We embrace our stories and know they matter because we matter. We stop pretending that everything is okay when it isn't, because in our authentic living, we find healing and deep connection with one another and with you. Just as in kintsugi, we believe that our imperfections make us more beautiful, and we know that yours do too.
One of the requirements during these past 3 years of spiritual direction was to attend a 7-day silent retreat. 6 of these days, everyone is totally silent, except for 1 hour of sharing with a spiritual director each day. When I attended in the summer of 2023, I was blessed to have Sharon Reed as my spiritual director. When I arrived, this note from Sharon was waiting for me in my room. How blessed I feel to serve as your spiritual director during this time at the Pines. Even in the silence, may you know God speaking clearly to you. I pray that you can be open and receptive to all that is offered and uncover some hidden gems meant just for you. Take each day as it comes and see what it reveals. I honor and miss Sharon. I never imagined a silent retreat could be so meaningful, powerful, and insightful. So much so that I went voluntarily the next summer as well, and am attending again this August. Silent retreats are life-changing. I offer you this poem as we end 3 years of growth together. Jan Richardson writes, "In the leaving, in the letting go, let there be this to hold on to at the last: the enduring of love, the persisting of hope, the remembering of joy, the offering of gratitude, the receiving of grace, the blessing of peace. For me, spiritual direction is a way of life, a way of living, and I have been given wings to fly.
So I know I was a little bit late in getting set up. If you saw my synthesis project, you'll see that I have a love of the outdoors and hiking. It is where I find God. And these last 3 years has helped me to focus in on myself and where I fit in. And it helps me also to develop a deeper understanding of myself based on the workshops, the retreats, the classes, the supervisor, bless you, Douglas. Everything just came together to help make me a better person. And I look forward, as I show in this picture, I look forward to what the path will take me to. So I have a poem here I want to read. The title of it is Where the Light Falls. And I have to be honest, it's co-written by myself and ChatGPT. And I must say, we did a wonderful job. In the hush of morning, the forest exhales, a breath older than memory, older than fear. Branches, like prayers, reach out in crooked reverence as light pours through the canopy in soft, holy rivers. No path is marked, and yet I follow. My feet drawn not by sight, but by something deeper, something eternal. The sun breaks open on the skin of leaves, and I feel the whisper of a voice I cannot name, yet have always known. It says, "You are seen. You are guided. Even in the shadow, I am with you." The ground is soft with surrender, the silence thick with presence. Here, where no church stands and no scripture is spoken, I kneel. Not in obedience, but in awe. Because the light found me and I followed. Thank you.
Behind me is a symbol of a threshold. Door on one side, endless possibilities on the other. So take a moment and consider the many thresholds you have crossed, both literally and metaphorically, throughout your life, today, or even in just this moment. John O'Donohue tells us that at any time we can ask ourselves these questions. At which threshold am I now standing? At this time in my life, what am I leaving? Where am I about to enter? What is preventing me from crossing the threshold? What gift would enable me to do it? He goes on to say, to acknowledge and cross a threshold is always a challenge. It demands courage and also a sense of trust of whatever is emerging. Suddenly, you stand on completely strange ground, and a new course of life has to be embraced. That we are here is a huge affirmation. Somehow life needed us and wanted us to be. No threshold need be a threat, but rather invitation and promise. We merely need to trust. What are you waiting for?
You're seeing two photos on the screen right now, and the bottom photo, I do not remember where that is from, where I took that, but I do know the exact location of the top photo. It's in Anderson, Indiana. It's Ernie Hill. Is that what you call it? And you're all invited to come watch the sunset tonight, right? Is that okay? Okay. So many years ago, I was trained as a professional listener. And over the past 20 years, I have trained hundreds of other people to be professional listeners. Yet it was when I started to receive spiritual direction that I sensed there was more listening. My spiritual director seemed to hear and sense in a way that seemed different than my own hearing and sensing as a therapist. Wellstreams has allowed me to better understand and access this deeper listening, a sacred listening. This is a listening that brings my full self to the moment. It is a listening not just to the other, but to myself and what Spirit may be offering. What was that tightness in my chest as the directee described her father's hurtful behavior? What is this image I have of the directee on a merry-go-round? When nothing they have said connects directly to merry-go-rounds. I have learned that sacred listening is taking in all that is available to us in any given moment. And it doesn't just occur when meeting with another. To some extent, I have engaged in sacred listening my entire life. As I heard the beating of my own heart, as I heard the whispers in a sunset, as I heard the look in your eyes, as I heard the reassurance of ocean waves, as I heard the pain in my stomach, as I heard the deer playing in the field, and as I heard the silence of a crane at the water's edge. Now, I am simply awakened to it.
For some reason, we missed the slide, but we're not going to miss you.
Oh,
Come on. Come on.
You didn't get my fun
I did. I don't know. This is not Michael Duran.
Okay, well, I will be reading a very short poem today, but I just want to say it was one of the multitudes of small and large blessings that have been given to me during Wellstreams. But before I read it, I would just like to briefly express my gratitude for this life-altering 3-year journey. From the divine guidance that led me to Kathy Davis at Maple Grove, and then led me on to spiritual direction, just everything from meeting everyone here and us growing together to all the supervisors, directors, leaders, just everyone has been I am just so grateful for the entire journey. Each and every one of you has blessed me, and I would not be the person I am today without this journey. So the short poem I'm reading was shared with me by my practice spiritual director, Patty. I received it at a time when I needed to remember who I am and what I believe about life. It's called Created for Joy by Hafiz. I sometimes forget that I was created for joy. My mind is too busy, my heart is too heavy for me to remember that I have been called to dance, the sacred dance of life. I was created to smile, to love, to be lifted up, and to lift others up. Oh, sacred one, untangle my feet from all that ensnares, free my soul, that we might dance, and that our dancing might be contagious. So I thank you, and I send out a prayer for joy, dancing, and love for everyone.
So I may look a little different from the 11 others. If you thought that, you're not alone. I thought the same thing when I walked into the church basement on August 27, 2022. And yet over that time, in our conversations and our stories, our vulnerability and risks, our laughter, our tears, our poems, books, silence, my vision improved and I started to see better. What a gift. The journey in Wellstreams invites a sharing of very personal and intimate stories of how one relates to themselves, others, and the divine. It includes emotional continuums of hopes, desires, suffering, struggle, guilt, and shame. It can feel like one of the riskiest, most vulnerable, and most brave experiences. It did for me. Yet it was in this sacred space that enabled me to see with this group of beautiful people. Myself, I could see myself, the other, and our connectedness. It was the safety and the strength, the tenderness and the silence, the listening and reflecting without anyone trying to change or fix or control, allowing you to be. Only reflecting, never abandoning, listening to be with, inviting me to hear what was in me. This beautiful lesson repeated itself over and over. As others shared, I heard their story, recognized parts of my story, and grew in the realization that we are more connected in each of our stories. While the wounds were different, we all experienced wounds. While the healing was different, we all experienced healing. It was not common, it was connectedness. I chose this picture of a lake reflecting a mountain. It was a hike I was able to take with some amazing people who are hopefully listening online, who I love and I hold great memories. I love the way the water reflects the mountain. It's very gentle, very peaceful. I find that very powerful. And for me, I see that no matter what differences may appear on the surface, when we trust in that sacred presence that is holding us, we may begin to know ourselves more deeply as well as the other. And in that knowing, we may experience the connection between us. And through and within this mystery, our relationships, our community, our world can more reflect our connectedness and what that might offer us. That's my 2 minutes, so I'm done. But before, hold on one second. Before we move to the next item, we as a class want to express our thanks and gratitude to a few who have poured into each of us the last 3 years. As Ellen shared, we assembled that beautiful bouquet of flowers as each one of us spoke. Each flower was also an expression of thanks that we want to offer Amanda. If you'll come up, please. Of her amazing work preparing, Zooming, snacks, listening, sharing, and loving and supporting each of us in her own special ways. So thank you, Amanda. Next, we'd like to thank Alejandro. For his leadership, availability in so many ways, support and love for each of us. You've showed up for each of us and continue to do so for many. Thank you. Lastly, we want to thank one of our very own. Our very own. Liz doubles as a classmate, a poet obviously, as well as working at the Spirituality Network. Her double duty was a huge help to all of us, and this is an expression of our love and thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. And now we're going to ask Jace to do the benediction.
Thank you, Michael. I'm honored to bring you the semi-close of what we are doing today, the benediction for graduation. And now, as we move on from this space, where there has been much to be celebrated, may you go with hearts open to amazement, with steps lightened by hope, and with faith that doesn't need all the answers, to believe in new beginnings. May the Spirit move within us, shaping us into people of grace and transformation. Go in peace and let love make room.
I'm going to ask you to stand as you are able. Over the past 3 years, the 12 of us have done a lot of leaning. We've leaned on our leaders and mentors. We have leaned on each other, of course. We have leaned on the divine. And we have leaned on you, family and friends who supported us and may have even sacrificed at times for us to make this journey. So we wanted to end by bringing our gratitude and affection to you. Cue the music. Is it happening?
Yeah. If not, you get to sing.
Oh, no. We'll invite Christine back up to sing. Oh, he's up there working on it? Okay.
He's working on it.
I don't. I said we weren't going to sing. We are not going to sing. Okay. We're just going to come thank you. If the music comes on, the music comes on.
Good. Cool.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.